चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन हमने डिस्कस किया था इन क्लास, डेट एसेट्स इज इक्वल टू लाइबिलिटीज प्लस कैपिटल। तो ये स्लाइड्स आपके पास ऑलरेडी हैं, तो अगर जिनके पास नहीं है तो मैं नीचे लिंक दिया हुआ है, वो उस लिंक को ओपन करके वहाँ से ये एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। ये है हमारा लेक्चर 3। सो लेक्चर 3 ये रेफरेंस है, इसका रेफरेंस ये वाला है लेक्चर 3। तो ये वाला आप डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। अब अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन, एसेट्स इज इक्वल टू लाइबिलिटीज प्लस कैपिटल। कैपिटल को हम ओनर्स इक्विटी भी कहते हैं। एक्सपेंडेड अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन हमने पढ़ी थी, इसका है एसेट्स इज इक्वल टू लाइबिलिटीज प्लस कैपिटल माइनस ओनर ड्राइंग्स प्लस इनकम माइनस एक्सपेंसेस। ड्राइंग्स की एक्सप्लेनेशन आपको मैं दे चुका हूँ। वो जो अमाउंट जो ऑनर जो विड्रॉ करता है फ्रॉम बिजनेस फॉर पर्सनल यूज़, तो वो उसकी ड्राइंग्स बिजनेस के लिए वो ड्राइंग्स हो जाती हैं। तो ये है ऑनर ड्राइंग्स। नेक्स्ट इसके बाद हमने डिस्कस किए थे डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स। हमने डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स डिस्कस किए थे, तो उसमें हमने टेबल डिस्कस किया था। मैं चाहता हूं कि आप ये टेबल को देख लें। जो आईकॉम के स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिन्होंने पहले अकाउंटिंग का जिनको नॉलेज है, तो वो उस टेबल को इग्नोर कर सकते हैं। तो दे कैन जस्ट डिपेंड ऑन देयर कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑफ डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स। और जो फर्स्ट टाइम ये डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स पढ़ रहे हैं, वो इस टेबल के ज़रिए ये देख सकते हैं कि अगर इंक्रीज इन एसेट होगा तो फिर वो क्या होगा। तो ये टेबल को आप बेशक इसका स्क्रीनशॉट लेके अपने पास सेव कर लें, तो इस लेक्चर के साथ साथ आप इसको एज अ गाइड यूज़ कर सकते हैं। तो ये सेम लेक्चर 3 में ही है जिसमें अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन है, उसमें ये टेबल भी मौजूद है, तो आप इसको एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। तो मूविंग ऑन, सो द नेक्स्ट वन वी आर डिस्कसिंग इज जर्नल। ये फाइनेंशियल हमारी ट्रांजैक्शन जो हमने बहुत डिटेल में पढ़ी, उसके बाद हमने जर्नल बनाने के लिए मैंने आप सब स्टूडेंट्स को डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स पिछले जो 2 लेक्चर्स हैं वो मैंने सिर्फ और सिर्फ इस फर्स्ट स्टेप के लिए उन लेक्चर्स के सारा टाइम मैंने यूज़ किया है। डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स को आपको समझाया है, इंक्रीज़ इन कैश बताया, इंक्रीज़ इन एसेट बताया, लाइबिलिटीज़ एसेट्स कैपिटल सब कुछ बताया आपको मैंने। तो ये पहला स्टेप है हमारा जर्नल। इस जर्नल में हम ट्रांजैक्शन को एज अ डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट रिकॉर्ड करते हैं। आपको पता है कि ट्रांजैक्शन एज अ डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट जो रिकॉर्ड होती है उसे हम डबल एंट्री कहते हैं। उस डबल एंट्री को हम जर्नल एंट्री भी कहते हैं। अब इसके अलावा ये होता है कि डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स हम अगर फ़र्ज़ करें एक अमाउंट जितनी अमाउंट से डेबिट हो रही है उतनी अमाउंट से क्रेडिट भी होगी। डेबिट्स एंड क्रेडिट्स इक्वल होते हैं। अब ये किसकी बेसिस पे है, ये अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन की बेस पे हम ये सारा कुछ इसको रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं डेबिट एंड क्रेडिट को। चलिए आगे चलते हैं। अब इसमें जो पॉइंट मज़ीद डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, अब आपको मैं जर्नल का फॉर्मेट बता दूं। जर्नल का फॉर्मेट अगर इसे मैनुअली देखा जाए तो वेरी सिंपल फॉर्मेट इसका, वो हम क्वेश्चन के साथ डिस्कस करेंगे। लेकिन उससे पहले मैं आपको बता देता हूं कि हम प्रैक्टिकली इसका फॉर्मेट हम कैसे यूज़ करते हैं। प्रैक्टिकली कहने का मतलब है कि इस गिफ्ट यूनिवर्सिटी हम जो आप आजकल अकाउंटिंग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कंप्यूटराइज अकाउंटिंग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उसमें सॉफ्टवेयर यूज़ करते हैं हम। उसमें पीच ट्री है, उसमें सेज है। अब उसमें लेट मी ओपन अप जनरल पिक्चर फॉर यू आई हैड सेव्ड समवेयर, देयर यू गो। अब ये जो है आपका जनरल का फॉर्मेट है पीच ट्री का। अब आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे अकाउंट आ रहा है, यहाँ पे डिस्क्रिप्शन है, डेबिट है, क्रेडिट है और जॉब है। अब इसका बैक एंड पे डेबिट, क्रेडिट और अकाउंट यूज़ होता है। बाकी सारा ये सॉफ्टवेयर का जो इंटरफेस होता है वो डिफरेंट हो जाता है, लेकिन बैक एंड पे सेम यूज़ हो रहा होता है। डेट इसकी यहाँ पे आ रही है, इसका रेफरेंस आ रहा है। अगर आपने कोई इसका इन्वॉइस, कोई आगे इन्वॉइस का रेफरेंस लिखना है या कुछ भी आपने उसका रेफरेंस लिखना है, रसीद का रेफरेंस लिखना है, ये सारा इसमें ये है पीच ट्री का जर्नल जो आ रहा है। अब एक और सॉफ्टवेयर है सेज, बहुत पॉपुलर सॉफ्टवेयर है, उसका जर्नल का फॉर्मेट ऐसा है। मेन चीज़ वही है, नेम, डिटेल्स, डेबिट, क्रेडिट, ये 3 चीज़ें हर सॉफ्टवेयर में होंगी। बाकी सारी चीज़ें चेंज होती रहेंगी इन द सॉफ्टवेयर। अब यहाँ पे ये TCA ये टैक्स के लिए यूज़ होता है, NC ये है अकाउंट, ये नेम और ये अकाउंट सेम थिंग है, आप अकाउंट एंटर करें या नेम एंटर करें दोनों खुद ही एंटर हो जाते हैं। एक्स रेफरेंस डिपार्टमेंट, ये आगे मज़ीद आपके सामने इंफॉर्मेशन आ जाती है। अब यहाँ पे हम डेट एंटर कर रहे हैं। अब आपके सामने जो मैं जनरल का फॉर्मेट बनाऊंगा वो जो मैनुअल हो वो मैनुअली हम बनाएंगे, जो आपको बुक में भी अवेलेबल है, जो मैंने वो उस पर शेयर की हुई है, शेयर ड्राइव पे, वो कीज़ों की बुक है, उस पर जो फॉर्मेट है वो मैं आपको क्वेश्चन के साथ आपको बताता हूँ कि उसका जनरल का क्या फॉर्मेट है। अब अगेन अब क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट करते हैं। हमारा है क्वेश्चन ये, मैं ये चाहता हूँ कि आप इसकी स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें। अब इस क्वेश्चन को साथ ही इस वीडियो के साथ साथ आप इसको देखते रहें, मैं इसको एक एक करके सॉल्व करना शुरू करता हूँ। तो ये डिफरेंट ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं। जॉन ने अपना बिजनेस शुरू किया, अपना लॉ ऑफिस शुरू किया। ड्यूरिंग द फर्स्ट मंथ ऑफ ऑपरेशंस द फॉलोइंग ट्रांजैक्शंस occurred. John invested 11,000 in cash in the law practice, so paid cash all the transactions we have. So what we are required to do, we are required to prepare accounting, the effect of these transactions on the accounting equation, and then prepare journal entries. So journal entries, or if you are doing debit and credit of a transaction, so this debit and credit is called journal entry or double entry, and we record in journal again. So now how we can do it, let's do transaction by transaction. As you know, this description, so John has started a law firm on July 1 2018. So during the first month of transactions the following transactions occurred. First month of operations the following transactions occurred. So the law firm, for the law firm, what do you think, what are the sales for law firm? Of course it is a services business. So the sales for a law firm is the services, legal services the firm rendered to different businesses. For example, preparing legal agreements, so this is also a service to a business. Preparing lease agreements and they charge for this service. So this is sale, this is income for the law firm. All right, so now let's do transaction by transaction. I'm just doing on a paper for your convenience. Let's do that. Of course we have to do accounting equation as well, the effect of transactions on accounting equation. And here we can write it like that, just keeping it separate. The line doesn't go straight, anyways, never mind. Oh, bad practice of doing straight line. Anyways, accounting equation, as we know, the accounting equation we already discussed, we have seen it and we discussed it in our last lecture, in gift university lecture. Assets is equal to liabilities plus capital plus income minus expenses and then minus owner drawings. And then on the other side we are preparing journal. It is not a army journal, it is a J journal. And then this is the manual format we are preparing now. It is not neat, but for understanding purpose that's all right. So here it is, description or account. Then we have, this is our reference column, this is just a reference column. And then we have debit and credit. This is for debit, not for doctor. It doesn't mean doctor, so because we write doctor like that as well, so it means debit. as far as accounting is concerned, and this is credit. And there you go. Now let's do transaction by transaction. The first transaction we have is John invested $11,000 in cash in the law practice. So again, one point, we are preparing these we are passing these financial transactions in terms of business. Let me make it clear. This is John. This is business. So we are preparing financial statements of business. Okay, we are discussing the transaction effects as far as business is concerned. We are writing in the business financial statements. We are passing double entry. We are doing debits and credits in terms of business, like what is the effect on business. We are ignoring John. Okay, for example, John invested $11,000 in cash. So we are discussing in business point of view. So it means business has received cash. So that's the point we are doing for all the transactions, because business has received cash. So it means the cash has been increased, or of course the assets has been increased, dollar sign, and we know this is our cash. Cash is our asset. On the other hand, because it is an investment, and of course the capital is also increased, 11,000 capital, it is increased. So plus means increase, and this plus means also increased. Now let's do the double entry. Let me open up the table for you again for your convenience. And as we know, so the debits and credits we have, in this equation, so asset is increased, so it is debit. So asset is increased, cash is received, so of course it is debit. And on the other hand, capital is also increased, so we know capital is increased, so it is credit. So that's what we do as far as double entry is concerned. So cash is debit with $11,000. On the other hand, capital is credit with $11,000. And as you can see, this is the debit transaction I've just written here. So credit transaction I've written just a little bit on the right side. This is just for the convenience, for the identification of the reader, so he knows which is debit and which is credit. That's it. There is no other reason behind it, just for the convenience of the presenter, for the user of the financial statements. Now here we write a simple description: investment, a short concise statement, investment by John. So what it will show to the reader what is happening. Investment by John, so cash is debit, capital is credit. So this is the first transaction. The next one is paid $800. So this is the second one, paid $800 for July rent on office space. So he has paid $800 rent. So of course the cash is decreased. He has paid rent, so the cash is decreased. This is our cash, which is decreased. On the other hand, as we know, this rent is our expense. So this is our expense. There you go. So expense has been increased by $800. And as we know, This expense we deduct from the capital. This expense we deduct from the capital, that's why it is negative. So we just put a negative here. So of course plus minus becomes minus, right? So it represents expense has been increased, but expense, as you know, the expense reduces the capital. Expense increase, on the other side capital decrease. I have discussed in the previous lecture. Again, let me discuss it here. This is our capital. We include income in the capital because income increase our capital. We deduct expense from capital because expense decrease our capital. We deduct drawings from capital because drawings reduces our capital. So that is the logic behind it. So expense increased, or on the other side capital is decreased. So of course negative is here and the negative is here. So our equation is equal. Now let's do the journal entry. And as we know, the rent is debit. Rent is our expense. Please go to the table and check, because rent is increased, expense is increased, increase in expense is debit. So that's why rent is debit. So the nature of this rent is it is an expense, right? So we are not write expense only straight away here, because if we just write expense, we could not identify what type of expense this is. Either this is electricity, either this is rent, either this is, for example, telephone bills, salaries, or what type of expense is this. So that's why we write rent here. On the other side, we know the cash has been decreased. So decrease in asset is credit. So of cash is decreased. So cash is credit 800. And the description we are writing in a short form is paid July rent. This is for the convenience of the user. The next transaction we have is purchased office equipment on account or on credit 3000. As you know, this is our credit transaction. They have told you straight away. So John has purchased, business has purchased the office equipment on account on credit $3,000. This is our credit transaction. So let me put the page in front of you again. Yeah, there you go. Credit transaction. So number 3, purchased office equipment on credit $3,000. So office equipment is increased, and of course the liability of creditors is increased. So these are the two facts we discussed just now before. Now cash is not decreased because cash has not been paid, so there is no effect on this one asset, right? Because there is no cash. But we know the office equipment, it is an asset, it is increased. So our asset is increased by how much? $3,000. This is our office equipment. Our asset increased. Okay. On the other side, because cash has not been paid for this transaction, the cash has not been decreased. What is increased is our liability. On the other hand, we can say our creditors, which is payable after some time. Our creditor, it is increased. All right, that's the transaction. So as we know, our asset is increased because of this transaction. So we write office equipment. So the nature behind this office equipment, it is an asset. Okay, I'm just writing just for the convenience of the user, so we know what type of asset is increasing. So we can write particularly this office equipment has been increased. So office equipment has been increased by 3,000. On the other side, our creditors has been increased by 3,000. Here we write a simple description: purchased office equipment. You can write whatever you want in a brief way. It is just for the convenience of the user. The next transaction we have is number 4. Provided legal services to clients for cash. Because this is a law firm, the providing legal services is the main activity, ordinary course of business, so that's why it is a business income. So business income business has provided legal services to clients and they receive cash, so of course it is an income. So they receive cash, it means cash has been increased by number 4. Transaction number 4 is 1500. The cash has been increased by 1500. This is our cash, it is an asset, it is increased. On the other side, our income is increased. As income increase, capital increase, so of course the positive impact. There you go. This is our income. Excuse me. Now let's write this, our income increase and cash increase. Now let's go to debits and credits table and see what if there is an increase in cash or increase in asset. Increase in asset is debit, so we write cash debit with 1,500. On the other side, when our income increase, it is credit. Increase in income is credit, 1,500. So we can write rendered. So from the previous transaction we were discussing, so we wrote the description rendered legal services. Now moving on to the next transaction. So number 5, borrowed 700 cash. This is the one. Borrowed 700 cash from a bank on a note payable. Note payable is a promise, a written promise. Business can write that this is the promise on a paper, that if you give me $700, I will pay you with interest after some time. So this is note payable. It is kind of loan, you can say. So this is called note payable. So it means some kind of loan, you can say. So of course, business has received cash $700 from a bank on a note payable. So of course the cash is coming into the business. So the cash is increased $700 because he borrowed cash. Business has borrowed cash from bank, so cash is coming into business, cash is increased. On the other hand, our business liability is increased as well. So here we have accounting equation is same on both sides. So this is just a dollar sign. Let me put it in a more convenient way. So $700 and then increased plus. So the liability is increased and the liability is increased and the cash is increased. So let's do the double entry. Increase in cash is debit. Cash debit and creditors, note payable you can say, or creditor you can say, whatever you want to say. Creditor is credit, which is payable. So borrowed cash. So the next one we have is number 6, perform legal services for client on account $2,000. All right, so we were discussing transaction number 6, which is performed legal services. So there you go. So perform legal services for client on account $2,000. So what does this transaction mean is uh, that business has provided legal services, which is a income for a business, on account means on credit. So if it is on account, as you know, it is a credit transaction. So it means, first of all, you can refer back to my cash and credit transactions lecture. uh, it means our income is increased by 2000. On the other hand, because business hasn't received cash for these services, it will be receiving sometimes in future. So it means asset is going to increase by 2000. So the name of the asset is, so 2000 is going to be increased. So it is receivable, or it is debtors. On the other hand, the double entry for this one is debtor debit with 2000 and credit income or revenue 2000. So in description we can say rendered legal services. Moving on to the next transaction, number 7. It is saying paid monthly expenses. So there it is. So paid monthly expenses, salaries and wages 500, utilities 300, and supplies 100. So it means the cash has been paid. So if we just write in a simple way, just for our convenience, so 500 plus 300 plus 100, it's 900. So we just write it all together just to save time. So because it is our expense, so the cash has been decreased. The first effect is cash has been decreased by, sorry, 900. It is 900. So cash has been decreased by 900. Asset decreased and cash decreased. So the asset is decreased 900. On the other hand, these are our expenses. So the expenses are increased by, I would like that way. Expenses are decreased by 900. Sorry, assets are increased by 900. So there is a negative sign with expenses. So continuation remains equal. So plus minus minus. So minus 900 and minus 900 is equal. So we have to pass the double entry for that. So let me turn out the page for that. So the first effect is, of course, let's say this is the next continue thing coming from the previous page. So we have cash decreased and expense increased. So it means expense debit. So we can write like salaries, utilities, and supplies, which is our expense. It's debit by 900, and because this has been paid, so 900. So in the description we can write salaries, utilities, wages paid. There you go. Now moving on to the last transaction, which is number 8. So John withdraws $1,000 cash for personal use. So this is our drawings. You know, when owner John is owner withdraw cash from business for personal use. So cash is, so this is our drawings. So this is drawings for the business. So what we can do is, in this one, the cash is decreased by 1000. 1000 cash decreased. On the other hand, because it is our drawings are increased by 1000, and as you know, there is a negative sign coming from here, so we can say it is like that. So it means plus minus minus, so minus 1000 on one side, minus 1000 on the other side. So if you look at the table of the debits and credits, let me open up here for you. There it is. Those who already understand these debit and credit, they don't need the table. So anyways, so drawings, first of all, cash is decreased, so of course it is credit, because business cash is decreased when owner withdraw cash from the business. So that's why cash decrease means asset decrease, so decrease in asset is credit. So let me write it here. So cash decreased with, how much was that? It was 1000. Cash is decreased by 1000. Now what is debit? Because it is a reduction in capital, because when the logic behind drawings is it reduces capital. When owner invest in business, the capital increase. When owner withdraw cash from business or personal use, for personal use, the capital decrease. So it is a decrease in capital, so decrease in capital is debit. So capital is debit. $1000. Sorry, owner withdraw from business. Owner withdraw cash. So there you go. So the question is complete. So the next practice question, those who have these lecture slides, please attempt practice question number 2 and practice question number 3. Lecture 4, which I have sent you already. So those who don't have the lecture, so please click the link below. So in the description, just copy that link and paste in your browser. So the folder will open up to you, and then you can download these slides from the folder. So this is lecture 4, and the debits and credit table was in lecture 3, and the next one is lecture 4. So hope I will see you guys inshallah on Saturday, and do practice these questions please before coming to the next lecture, which is Saturday. Take care. Allah Hafiz. See you.